While the Bank of Japan has repeated its pledge to pursue, quote, powerful monetary easing to counter a threat of recession. But Japan's economy does remain on a knife edge. Well, to assess the financial aftershocks, I'm joined now by the Minister of Financial Affairs at the Embassy of Japan, Yosuke Kawakami. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today.
It's a very pleasure to appear on your program, Andrea.
Thank you. Of course, everyone's thoughts are with the tragedy, the human tragedy and the human cost of what has happened in Japan. But as we look towards these unprecedented moves on the currency last night, just how important is it for Japanese exports and indeed for the whole of the Japanese economy for the currency to be stabilized in the way that we've seen this intervention do?
Well, in this current earthquake, tens of thousands of people have been missing or been dead. And in these, in the background of these grave circumstances, we have seen excessive movements in the yen, excessive and disorderly movements in the yen. That's why you have seen the G7 telephone conference call this morning. You have seen our Minister Noda speak this morning in Tokyo. You have seen Jean-Claude Trichet, the ECB president, speak just before me. And I think it's very significant that the G7 countries have sort of shown their solidarity to disapprove of these excessive and disorderly movements in the currency that are, in our opinion, not beneficial for the economy at large.
And Mr. Trichet said in his speech just a few minutes ago about the solidarity that's being shown among all those G7 countries. If the yen is stabilized at a level more like this, what effect does that have on Japan's ability to export its way out of the current situation? Are exports going to be a huge driver for growth and trying to get the economy back on track after this tragedy?
Well, exports are a significant driver in our economy, but the larger portion of our economy does remain with domestic consumption, domestic investment, and but the exports are very, I believe, important in terms of maintaining confidence in our economy. And as you know, confidence has been rather weak, especially with the recent events that has occurred in conjunction with the earthquake and the tsunami.
Indeed. And how confident are you that the measures that we saw overnight from the G7 will be enough? Or do you think that this is going to be one of a series of interventions that needs to take place to stabilize the yen?
Well, I would urge all those of you concerned to just look very closely, very carefully at the G7 statement that reinforces the solidarity among the G7 countries in order to maintain orderly markets as far as the currency markets are concerned. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank the international community for not only the G7 countries, but the entire international community for offering not only our sympathies, condolences, but very kind and generous assistance to those affected by this tremendous earthquake and tsunami that has rocked the foundation of Japan, if you will.
Indeed. And obviously this is an ongoing situation. It's very difficult, I'm sure, for you to say at the moment what kind of longer term effect it's likely to have on the economy. From what we've seen so far, though, I think everyone has been very moved by the resourcefulness and indeed the calmness of the people of Japan. It's a real trait of the Japanese, their ability to cope in these situations.
Well, thank you for mentioning that. I mean, unlike the currency markets, the Japanese people, its citizens have maintained peace and calm as far as their ordinary lives are concerned. And it is our duty to maintain that peace and order in the Japanese society. And as you know, the Bank of Japan has provided ample liquidity to the tune of almost 50 trillion yen. The government has already disbursed billions of Japanese yen in terms of emerging assistance. And we will be forming possibly a large supplementary budget in order to cope with these kinds of difficulties.
There has been talk, and it may be a little bit premature, about perhaps a tax being raised or a bond being raised on the Japanese people to try and pay for the rebuilding. Is that something that you would look to?
Well, don't think we will have any problems with the financing because, as you know, we do have ample domestic savings, ample foreign reserves that will be sufficient to cover any kind of financing needs.
Now, from a point of view of the global economy, of course, it's all incredibly interconnected, and we've seen that very much with the concerns about, say, chip makers in Japan, therefore having a knock-on effect to iPhones in California or whatever. Going the other way, for luxury goods makers, it's a very, very strong export market in Tokyo and Japan as a whole. Do you think that that is going to be significantly damaged by what's been happening in terms of the luxury goods market?
Well, I'm afraid that conspicuous consumption, if you will somewhat be discouraged. But the yen has appreciated during the past couple of days. You have seen the intervention drive it back to current levels, but the yen is still somewhat appreciated vis-a-vis its levels several years ago. So as long as the domestic fundamentals are good, which it is, I mean, it's only a small portion of the Japanese economy that has been damaged, and I hope that over the longer term, as the economy picks up, it's too early to talk about reconstruction now, but as the economy picks up with the reconstruction efforts, I hope that the luxury goods makers will have nothing to fear about.
Indeed. And a question about we've seen a lot of expats in Tokyo at the moment leaving, which is understandable. Are you concerned that those people may not come back? They need to come back to make Tokyo remain the kind of vibrant international financial center that it is? The government has advised only the very vicinity of the Fukushima first power plant to move. We believe that those foreign embassies who have advised their citizens to move farther away, I believe they may be taking precautionary measures because, as you may have noticed, the British chief scientist has advised, I believe, the general public that the Japanese measures are sufficient for the time being, taken in the best of knowledge that we have about the radiation leaks that are around. Okay, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And as we say, our thoughts are with
well, thank you very much, and we
would
would like to thank you for all your assistance. Thank you.
Thank you.